In our ever-connected world, we're constantly sharing our thoughts, our experiences, but sometimes our greatest impact can come from sharing the things that we know. These are the things we've learned, lessons we've grown from, and passions we've mastered. And that's exactly what we're seeing happen. People around the world are now sharing their knowledge as their body of work, building their credibility, their freedom of time, their way to earn an income, and for some, it's their legacy for the world. It becomes a manifestation where their imagination met creation, and what is most exciting about this time is that this movement is for everyone, because everyone is a creator. Everyone has a skill and knowledge they can share. No, they must share. No matter your location, your background, your story, your experiences, everyone can do this. You can teach the things you love and be able to impact the lives of others. You can teach the things that may seem simple to you and be able to grow a community around your work. You can create, inspire, follow your dreams, and change the norm. So we welcome you, the new creators, our next creators. Let this be your platform, because if there's one thing we know, it's that nothing is impossible and everything is teachable. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's panel. First of all, let me know if you can see me, you can hear me, but I am so excited for today's panel because we are going to be talking with some incredible creators and what it is that they have been doing with their online courses in their business. Now, okay, it looks like you guys can see it. I see Ben says hello, Karen says okay, WS says I can see and hear you. Awesome. So a lot of you are here because either you have joined the Creator Challenge or you're excited to join us, which kicks off on June 1st. But the reason why I'm really looking forward to today's panel is that we are going to be speaking with people who have done the things that you're about to embark on yourself. And we are going to hear what it is they've done with their online courses to grow their audience, to actually craft the content. And we will also be saving some time to have you ask your questions. So I would love for us to just start off with a round robin style intro, because I have the incredible Jillian Perkins, Mark Pendleton, and Natalie Goucher here. Jillian, let's start off with you. Can you share a bit about your business and what it is that you are currently up to?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I run a digital course business. We help online entrepreneurs, very similar to the audience that Teachable helps, but we help them in a very different way. We help them with the strategy of planning out their courses and then marketing their courses with a strong emphasis on that marketing component. So if anyone here happens to know me, they probably know me from YouTube. We have a pretty popular entrepreneurship YouTube channel in which we talk a lot about passive income. So we share a lot of free content on the YouTube channel, and then we also offer courses, and we run a membership site that offers some premium support for those people who are really looking to create digital products and generate passive income.
Amazing. We are super excited to have you here. And next up we have Mark Pendleton. Welcome.
Hi there, I am Mark. I run the Coffee Break Academy, and the Coffee Break Academy is all about helping you learn a language in the time that you have available, be that on a coffee break or when you're at the walking the dog, whatever it be. So we have a Teachable School, and we sell our through the Teachable School. We've started, we started through podcasting. So we started making Coffee Break French, Spanish, German, Italian podcasts a number of years ago. We built our audience, began to monetize online courses, and that's what we've been doing for a number of years now. We've got an audience all around the world, an audience of people who perhaps don't have time to learn a language in a traditional way. So they are obviously the online courses, the material available to them to download and learn in their own time, where and when it suits them.
Brilliant. Yeah, and I think the audio quality might be a little bit low, as we see in the chat here. So we will work on that. But Mark, so excited to have you here. And last but certainly not least, we have Natalie Goucher.
Hey, everybody. Natalie Goucher here. Thank you for joining. I am a social media coach and corporate trainer. My signature program is Market My Vision, which we are in our 6th year. And Market My Vision is a program for solopreneurs, service providers, coaches, consultants who want to learn how to effectively sell their courses, their workshops, their services without tens and thousands of followers. So super excited to be here and share how I use the Teachable platform in sort of a non-traditional way to support my coaching practice.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love about seeing what everyone is doing with their courses. And for those of you that are already in the Creator Challenge, you're seeing all the different topics. And it's not just, you don't have to just use online courses and have that as your sole thing, as your full-time income. I mean, like Natalie, she's actually using it to support her clients, or you can use it to expand your brand. Now, what I want to first off starting with is, so Jillian, when you started your business, I know like from the outside, it probably looked like you were doing these incredible things, but there was a point where you pivoted into online courses. What did it look like before that though?
Well, I don't know if it looked like I was doing incredible things when I first started out. I had a very messy beginning where I started several different things over the period of several years, and each of them was a big learning experience. And sometimes more than that, sometimes it was how I was supporting myself, and sometimes it was only a learning experience. But when I started using courses, I was running a a digital marketing agency, and we did a lot of social media marketing. But we found that we had this disconnect. We were attracting a lot of clients, but they weren't the right clients. They weren't clients who could really afford premium, professional one-on-one services where we were actually doing the work for them. And so we realized that we needed to offer these people who we had attracted a product that was at a price point that they could actually afford. And really what they were looking for was more of a DIY option. And so that was when we started creating online courses. And to be completely honest, the first course that we created, it didn't do very well because we didn't really look at what our audience needed, and we just created the course that we wanted to create. But over time, we figured out how to get better in tune, in touch with what the audience actually needed. And so the courses became more and more successful. I launched my first course with Teachable actually about 3.5 years ago, I would say. And at first, it didn't make any sales, but because we put in the time to create that course, as our audience continued to grow and as we continued to attract more and more of the right people, we now sell many copies of that course. I'm not sure what the right term is. We have many people enroll in that course every single month now. That course that I created 3.5 years ago that initially got no sales at all.
No, you bring up a very good point, and I think this is something that a lot of people may be kind of thinking of when it comes to launching their first course, which is that we have this idea of what we want to talk about, we want to share, but that doesn't necessarily mean that our audience is going to want that. So what is it that you did, Jillian, to better understand what was it that your audience actually wanted to learn from? Like, did you survey them? Did you talk to them? What did that look like?
I think that maybe the common response to this question would be to say that we surveyed them or we, just asked them questions. But I would take a different tact because we really did. We didn't do that initially. The reason was because even though we were attracting some new customers, we were attracting new followers, there wasn't very many of them. It was growing every month, but there just wasn't a whole lot of them to interview. And so a lot of people gave me the advice to talk to my audience more or to find out what they want. And I felt really frustrated with that because I felt like I didn't have the opportunity to talk with them. Now, in retrospect, I realized that I could have done this differently. I could have reached out to individuals, but I was trying to do it in the way that I saw people who were already quite successful, who already had large audiences do it, which was to put a poll on social media or something of that nature. But that didn't work very well. And I think that was why we initially created the wrong product. But what shifted that was really a focus on creating content that was really in our wheelhouse, the things that we had a lot of knowledge of, that we were talented at, that we had expertise with, so that we could create really high quality content that was free content. Because in doing that, we were able to stand out in the industry and get more and more attention so we could grow our audience more quickly. And then once we had that audience growth, then the people were there to talk to more easily. Now, like I said, I could have talked to them in a different way at first, but the way that I overcame that problem was really to work on creating top quality content so that my audience grew.
think that's absolutely brilliant. Now, Mark, you are helping people learn how to speak different languages. And the thing is that there's so many different languages to learn. So what was your process for deciding on your initial courses and choosing the topic, or how it was that you were going to position it for your audience?
Sorry, Jess, I have actually lost you, and I'm not sure what question you just asked me. So
sorry.
I really apologize.
You're fine. Well, first of all, the audio sounds better, so that's great. No, my question to you, my question for you was, when it came to you nailing down what the topics were going to be for your courses, because you're teaching people how to learn to speak different languages, there's naturally so many different languages that you could teach. So what was your process for figuring out what your topic was going to be for your courses?
With a language, the natural thing is to, if you like, start at the beginning. And when we started creating our first courses, that's exactly what we did. We focused on basics of the language and trying to help people build their knowledge at the very early levels, so build a strong foundation. But with a language, when you go forward so far, and then you have to stop going forward, and at that point to go much on a much wider basis. At that point, we really to find out exactly what our learners were looking for and which particular areas. And again, in the field of work, just so many, so wanted to that, and our learners have always helped us identify what are the best ways forward. So we've looked at different types of learners. We've looked at building courses for different levels, for different areas of language, and focusing on find difficult. So of ideas for generation of content, it's very much the questions that the learners are asking, on search for what the common questions are, and also looking at what else is out to see what other people are making videos on, to be able to see what other people are doing podcasts on, and trying to use those as a tool to help you form that has coherence, because I think it's very easy to create a random video on one thing, a random piece of audio on something else, but to bring those different ideas into something that one, that's what we've tried to do with for each language. We work in different languages, have not got all that range of content in all our languages, but in French and Spanish, for example, we are now at the stage of really drilling down to very specific areas and trying to help learners build their skills in those areas.
So speaking of building your skills, so for those of you, actually love to know in the chat, let me know if you are currently a coach or you are working one-on-one with clients, because there are so many ways that you can hone in on the topics that you're going to teach in your course. And it doesn't necessarily have to be that your course is going to be for the masses. Maybe it's just for the people that you are currently serving now. Now, Natalie, this is something that you've done incredibly well. Can you share a bit of what does it actually look like when you're offering your courses to your clients, and how did you figure out what that was going to be so they would actually want to invest in it?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So, funny story, I do want to share how I even got into doing courses. I never set out to actually create one. It was more so that I had done so many webinars and I was trying to figure out how to share those with people where they could access that. And so literally I used a course platform to throw in my old webinars that I had done over the years. And I sold them one day on Black Friday. And I was like, whoa, this is awesome. And people were buying webinars that I had done previously. So that's kind of where the course journey started. When I started diving more into private coaching, it was actually pretty easy to figure out what people needed, because I literally would go through my emails, go through my, direct messages on Facebook, go through my comments, and I would look at the questions that people continued to ask me over and over again. And those were immediate, absolutely yes. I wrote those down as, things that I was going to cover. And then I did take it a step further and I surveyed people to see what are the things that you're struggling with the most. And it was so interesting because I thought, in regards to social media, that people were struggling with, ads or, some of the other more fancy stuff. And when I surveyed people, they told me it was content. And so that was a big eye opener. So of course I went down the path of going towards what they wanted to learn about. To answer your second question about how I use it in my coaching practice, I coach one-on-one, and I also do a signature group coaching program that I mentioned called Market My Vision. And so, Teachable is a fantastic way to house all of the recordings and then to give people support after they've done their one-on-ones with me, or in between them implementing what it is that we just taught on the group session. So we may do it live like this. And then, if there are some additional things that they need, I record short tutorials and things like that. And I stick them in what I call the Market My Vision dashboard. And that's essentially where they can get everything that they need in between the times where we have sessions. And they love being able to get that additional support. So that's how I use it in my coaching practice.
Now, when you started to implement this within your coaching practice, did you notice a difference in the results that people were getting because they had those additional resources? Or
Absolutely. It's like having your own little coach in your pocket, because literally you can watch it on your phone if you're out at the coffee shop, if you just want to, listen to it while you're driving. So they were able to essentially duplicate me. Right. So there's only so much I can do. There's only so much one-on-one. And so to be able to say, okay, you want more on how to do the Facebook ads? Here are 4 other versions of that. And here, look at my screen and watch me do it step by step. And so when they had that, absolutely, I saw a difference in them being able to carry out those things instead of saying, wait, so what did you teach us again last week? Definitely, there was a big difference.
That's so interesting. And it brings us to a very important point, which is that when it comes to launching your first online course, now I know there's a lot of you in the chat here probably wondering, how do I market my course? What are the different launch strategies and funnels and sequences? But I think something that we don't really discuss that much, or we don't really see people discuss that much, is how important it is to get people results and to actually get to that transformation at the end of your course. Now, that can be a tough thing to do because we have a lot of ideas in our head, and it's how do we craft that into content and curriculum? Now, Jillian, you are known for helping people get to their transformation, to get to the end result. What does your process look like for taking an idea for your course? So you've spoken to your audience, or at least you've been seeing what people are interested in, to actually making that into a curriculum.
Well, that's a great question, because there is so much space to get lost between I want to create a course and then actually creating the course. So first of all, I just want to mention, I was at Traffic and Conversion Summit a couple months ago now, and I heard Ryan Deiss talking about the concept of happy customers don't refer, successful customers refer. So if we want to get that word of mouth traffic, those word of mouth sales, then we really need to work on creating successful customers, not just by satisfying our customers by making a good product. We want to make a product that actually gets them the results so that they are successful, so that people ask them, how did you achieve that? And they mention your course. And so that is a really big focus that I take, or that I have when I create a course. And I would say that my number one tip for being able to create a course that does get customers results is that first of all, I start out by just brainstorming everything that could go into the course, right? So that I have lots of ideas, because I always say that it's easier to get good ideas, much easier to get good ideas if you start with a lot of ideas so that you're then refining. Once I have all those ideas, though, what I really focus on is the outcome that I want my students to have from each lesson or from each module of the course. And it starts by looking at that outcome I want for the end result of the course. So let's say that we're building a list building course. So end result, I want my students to have their first 1,000 email subscribers, or their first 10,000 email subscribers. And so then I think, okay, so what do they need to do? And I try to keep it really practical. What do they need to do in order to get that end result? Not just what topics can I teach them that are related to that topic. I don't want this to be like Wikipedia on list building. I want this to be a step-by-step process that they follow in order to get that end result. So what are the things that they need to do in order to get to that end result? And then for each of those things that they need to do, I then do essentially the same process for that specific step of the process. So I say, okay, one thing they need to do is they need to set up their email marketing system. So they need to choose an email marketing software. They need to install those opt-in forms on their website. There's all these things that they need to do to set up their email marketing systems. And so instead of just telling them lots of information about email marketing systems, I think, okay, really practically, what are the things that they need to accomplish, the steps they need to take to accomplish that bigger step? And so then I try to, in the lessons, really show them how to do it instead of just talking about what they need to do. Because that's really what the purpose of free content is maybe to tell people what to do and to inspire them. But inside our courses, if we want to be creating successful students and facilitating that shift, that change in their life, then we need to make sure that we're actually showing them how to do it and really holding their hand. So I really focus in on what content I can create that will, and then to take this a step further, stripping everything else away, not giving them extra just so that I am covering myself and making sure, they'll feel like they got their money's worth. Sometimes some bonuses are good, but ultimately the resource that we're all the shortest on is time, right? And so I really value my students' time, and I want to make sure that I'm getting them the result that they're trying to buy by buying the course as quickly and as easily as I can possibly get it to them. And I mean, for them, it will be as quick and as easy so that they're not wasting their time or that it's not more complicated for them than it needs to be.
I hope everyone just took the biggest sigh of relief knowing that, and you touched on such an important point, which is that your course does not need to have a massive amount of information. So if you're watching this right now and you feel like you have to have hours and hours of content, no. And if you've ever done an online course, you know that you want to learn how to do something in the least amount of steps possible. Now, in regards to the steps, in regards to the content that you actually put into your course, now, Mark, you have experience in so many different types of media. You do audio, you've got your website, obviously video. Is there a format that you found to be the most effective for delivering online courses or for online education?
I think it's a combination of different things. For us, in a language, people want to hear what the language. So what we started with was audio content, and we actually offer the audio content as free podcasts. But within the free podcasts, we always include information about the fact that they can, the learners, or out of the content or out of their learning by joining the online course. And the online course will give them the extra content. But in terms of which bit of content it works best for learners, I think it very depends on the learner themselves. And we always try to cater for types of learners. So we'll provide the audio content, but we also put that audio content together with the equivalent of PowerPoint slides, so that if someone wants to watch, it's not with my messy shelf behind me. I'm very jealous of our other speakers' shelves because they're much more clean than mine. I don't know what that says about my. If more visual people, they might use the visual version with the words on screen, or they might want to use just that audio version and be out walking when they're listening to the lesson. But we also provide the same content. We're focusing the content. Provide that same content in a written form, so as a PDF. So basically people are getting exactly the same content, but just in different formats. And ultimately they can use it in whatever way they prefer. And very often with language, it's all about consolidation. So what they actually do is use all of them one after another. So some people listen first and then watch the video afterwards, as consolidation, and then the text materials and the exercises that lead to those text materials to further consolidate been learning. So it depends on the topic. It obviously depends on the thing that you're teaching. But I think that having a variety of different types of content is the important thing, and repurposing those assets as much as you can.
Great. And I'm just going to summarize that. I think the connection is a little bit jumpy. So just to kind of summarize what Mark said, because it was very, very good. He was saying for the different types of content you have, it's super valuable to have different types. So, if you have a PDF for like a visual representation, video, audio, and I think that also addresses that everyone has different learning styles. And so you really kind of cover all of your bases by doing that. Now, we're talking about the content. We've talked about how to validate your idea and to see like what it is that your audience would really want. But what do you do if you don't have an audience already, right? I'm sure there's some of you here that are just starting out and you know that you have a great course idea and a concept, but you don't know how to actually get people into your audience to tell them about it. Now, Natalie, you're obviously the social media guru. Do you have any tips for people who are wanting to grow their audience of the target people, so people would actually be interested in their course?
Yes, that is such a great question, because I think that's the reason why people don't create courses, because they think who's actually going to buy it, right? So one of the things that I do not discount is starting local. Yes, you're creating courses so that you can get in front of people from anywhere in the world, which is an amazing thing. But I started literally doing social media workshops in 2010, right? And so my audience was like 5 people at my workshop and it grew to now I have hundreds of people at my events. But find other people in your local area who are already doing events that maybe your course could be complementary to, right? So I recommend showing up, being of value in some sort of way to that event organizer, and seeing if you can build a relationship where they would be willing to share your course with their audience. So that's one way to do it. And certainly you can take that strategy online as well. If there is someone who you're connected to who has a Facebook group, they have a following, they have people, you can use the audience of other people. And the great thing about Teachable is that you can make someone an affiliate. So not only are you saying, hey, I have something that's valuable to your audience and that's complementary to what you teach, not necessarily competition, you now can say, I'd love to offer you a certain percentage of every sale. And I think that helps to soften, that atmosphere for the person to really consider doing that for you. And of course, I say all this, but first you've got to build that relationship. So I don't recommend just, reaching out to people and asking them to sell your course. There has to be some sort of opportunity where you're talking with them, engaging with them, adding value to what they're already doing so that they see that what you provide virtually would be in alignment in the same kind of way.
And are there things that you're offering people? So when you say to provide value, is it just to give advice? Are there things that people can actually present to those groups?
Yeah, absolutely. So, take a piece of your course. Let's say your course is 4 modules. Why not go to that event organizer on or offline and ask if you can teach completely free with no strings attached? You're not trying to necessarily build the list. You're not trying to sell anything at that moment. You're just sharing maybe a piece of the content so that they can see the gauge of interest from their audience and they can see how you teach. Because I know for a fact, anyone who's built an audience, they are very protective of who they allow into their space to share with their people, especially if they've built those audiences from scratch. So give them the opportunity to see how you teach and offer something for free.
That's great. And I know for some people, they're like, that feels counterintuitive. Why would I give away stuff for free when I want them to pay for it? But Jillian, when you go through your course launches, you have an entire shop of courses that you're offering. Now, what does your launch process look like? And when I say launch, what that means is your open enrollment period for those that are watching that are maybe new to this. What does that look like before you open up the cart for your course and then during that phase?
Great question. And actually, I want to start by going back to something that Natalie mentioned earlier, because I think that it really relates. She was talking about how when she started selling, she was actually offering the webinars that she had created in the past, and she just wanted to share them with her audience somehow, and she put them up on a Black Friday sale. And I thought that was really interesting, because that's actually really similar to how I finally started actually making course sales. After we made that first course that didn't do very well at all, and we realized we needed to try something new, instead of putting in all the effort of creating a full-on, 5-module course with dozens of videos or something like that, we decided to take a step back and instead make some really small courses. And by really small, I mean they were just a workshop that was 1 hour long that we were offering online for just $29. So these weren't free webinars, but they were at a really affordable price point. And the reason that we wanted to do this was so that we could test out a variety of different topics and find out what our audience was really most interested in. And of course, we could have just surveyed them, but I felt that it would give us more accurate data to see what people actually wanted to buy if we were actually offering it for sale, so we saw what they did buy. And so we started offering these workshops every single month, and so we were doing one each month so that we could test out these ideas. And so not only did that give us data about what our audience wanted to see, but it also made it easier for us to grow our audience and to promote the products, because when you're actually selling something, then you can afford to spend more money on producing your free content or more money on ads to drive traffic to your content. It's just much easier to get exposure when you're selling something. And so then that brings us back to your question, Jess, about how do we launch? And I kind of want to compare and contrast here, because how we launch today is very different than how we launched when we were just starting out. But the way we launch today isn't better, it's just different, because our audience is a lot bigger and we're selling much more expensive products now. So today, when we're launching, we start planning our launch probably at least 3, if not 6 or more months ahead of time. It's typically, I would say, in the 4 to 6 month range. And we'll map out all the content that we're going to be sharing during the launch and in the weeks preceding the launch, so that we make sure that we have absolutely everything ready, because nobody wants to be running a big launch by the seat of their pants, because that's extremely stressful. So we map that all out a good 6 months ahead, but then about 2 months ahead, that's the amount that I feel is good, we start doing a pre-launch. And so all this really is content that is designed to be starting the conversation with our prospective buyers. So maybe it's content to help inspire them that the end result is possible, or to make them more aware of the problem that they're facing and the fact that there is a solution available, and to get them comfortable with the idea that maybe we could help them get that solution. And then once it gets much closer to the launch, then we'll start sending more emails more frequently, so that we get them more engaged, more active with us. And then we typically have a 1-week open cart period during which we email them every single day. And then on the last day of the open cart period, they will get 3 emails, one in the morning saying today's the last day, one in the middle of the day that is kind of egging them on, and then one at the end of the day that's letting them know this is your really last chance. And so then the cart will close, and that's the end of the launch period. So we really just have a 1-week launch. Of course, after that, we have to do a lot more customer service work and work welcoming in the new members to the course. But that's basically what the process looks like. But then just to contrast that with what it looked like when we first started making sales, and what I'd really recommend someone would do if they're starting out, we were selling these workshops that were just one video that we would sell them live the first time. So people were signing up for a specific day, and then afterwards we would edit down the video into multiple shorter videos. It'd normally be about 5 to 10 minute videos, and we would sell that as a workshop, but a pre-recorded workshop. And when we were doing that, we kept the launch a lot simpler, especially for the live launch. What we would do was simply to be sharing that the workshop was coming up in each piece of content that we were making before that. And so we were making content on at least a weekly schedule, and then we were sharing that content on social media, sharing that content with our list. That was helping to grow our list in the process, because people were signing up for the workshop as well, and we were making these sales. And that also helped us to know how many people were interested in that topic. So then the workshop would happen, everyone would attend, and we didn't make any money right at that moment, of course, because all the sales had happened beforehand. Then we'd edit down the video, and then we would just put this product up for sale on our website so that people could find it and purchase it as a resource if they wanted. And because it's a much lower price product, people do buy it even if you aren't actually launching it. Whereas if you're selling a course for $500 or $1,000, people typically don't buy those unless you're actually actively launching via email, via ads.
So many great pieces in here. And I can already see you guys typing in the chat about Teachable You. So if you're wondering, for those of you that may be new to this and you're like, oh, like what's this like week-long open enrollment and the emails that I send, in Teachable U, I think you guys have posted the link in there, but also if you're in the Creator Challenge, you have access to it already. The 4th course goes through like everything that Jillian was talking about. Now, you brought up something very interesting about pricing. And this was actually a question that I saw in the chat as well, which is that your strategy going into this was, okay, or for one of your strategies, was offering a lower priced course to actually see like where people are putting their money down and what they're interested in. Now, I think pricing is something that there isn't necessarily one right or wrong way to do it. But Mark, for someone who teaches people something like languages, where maybe there isn't a natural like ROI at the end of the course, how did you go about knowing how much you're going to charge for your courses and what your audience would actually pay for?
That is a very good question, and I really do hope that you can hear me okay. I apologize for the connection problems. In terms of pricing, we really wanted to start. Very often our learners tend to be older people. With a lot of our learners, they tend to be perhaps retired people, people want to a life, and to play in where we were starting with our pricing. So we basically put a figure on it to begin with. We tried that. It seemed to go okay. But then at the same time, we did vary that from time to time to test the different fees for the course. But right back at the beginning, when we started, before Teachable, before we used the Teachable school to sell our courses, we did start with an ongoing recurring fee, but quickly realized that meant for us, we had to continue to create the content, which was putting a lot of pressure on us, especially as we were doing that across different languages. So we decided to, at that stage, decide on one particular fee for the course. And we tried doing different levels of pricing. So we had a silver, gold, bronze tier system of pricing. And we found that what happened there was that most people were going for the middle to the top courses, or the middle to the top prices. And ultimately, we decided, well, we're just going to have one price and stick with that. We also offer bundles of courses. So if someone is coming to French as a new language, then they can come in at the level of one course. And for us, one course at $104. Our prices are in pound sterling. We're based in the UK, so we also offer prices in dollars, but it's a kind of strange amount, but it has to be similar to the UK pricing. But if you want to buy multiple courses at one time, you can invest a lot more in that. So it's up to about $350 to $400 for a bundle of multiple courses. But again, we're finding that people are coming in at different levels. They may want to try all four at once if they listen to our podcast for a long time and they like here, more vested, and they would want to buy the whole course at once. I am conscious from the chat that people can't necessarily hear what I'm saying, so I do apologize again. Sorry.
I think what we should do, because someone was like, yeah, this is really good too, I want to hear what he's saying. We should have you guys in the Creator Challenge Facebook group and like just sharing, the things that you've learned, even like your pricing strategy, because I am telling you, the things that you all have been able to do with your online courses is incredible. And I think it's so interesting to see that everyone has a different way or a slightly different way of doing it to achieve the same result. And that's just dependent on knowing who your audience is and what they would resonate with the most. Now, I guess before we open it up to our audience Q&A, there's a lot of talk about online courses and we're all excited about it. And it's a really fun thing to do. But I also think that it can be a little bit overwhelming sometimes if this is your first time ever doing it. So Natalie, would you have any advice for someone who is sitting here who knows that they want to do this? They have something that they want to share with their audience, but there are those fears, those doubts of like, who am I to be doing this? What would you say to them?
I so love that you asked that question. Because you're going to have a lot of people here that are inspired by what we're doing on a higher level. But the reality is that to start off, keep it super duper simple. Like when I tell you, just like Jillian mentioned, my first set of quote unquote courses were recorded webinars that I stuck in a platform, had a few notes. I didn't even have worksheets. I'm telling you all, keep it simple. If you're wanting to record and you don't have a fancy camera, use your webcam. You don't know how to operate, cool graphics and do all that, use a Word document and turn it into a PDF. You want to do some screen recording and you don't have that fancy smancy, expensive tools, use something like, QuickTime, that's free, or Screencast-O-Matic, it's like $20 for the whole year. So don't compare what you're doing to what someone else has taken 5 or 6 years to do. My courses look completely different now, and my programs look completely different now than they did when I started, almost 10 years ago now. So keep it simple, and really good is good enough, right? Like the beauty in this, and I always use the example of the iPhone. How many freaking versions of the iPhone do we have? Too many to count. They don't not do the next version because they're trying to make this one, perfect. So same thing with your course. When you create it, know that there's room for growth, and you're probably going to change it 4 or 5 times, and that's totally fine. But give yourself that space and honor that and say, you know what? I'm going to get this thing out now, because if I don't, someone else is. So I absolutely recommend not getting in your head. So keep it simple and just move forward. That really is my best piece of advice.
It's so great. And that's the nice thing about having a digital course, is that it's digital. You can always update it. It's not like a book where once you print it, it's out there in the universe and you can't do anything. It can constantly improve and change. All right, we have a question here that I think is perfect for Ms. Jillian here. Speaking about YouTube, Lisa said, I paid so much money for an online course only to find that someone else provided all of that same content and more for free on their YouTube channel. And she's like, now I feel a little bit of resentment for that first person for under delivering. But I think this opens up a larger question, which is there's so much content for free on the internet. And I mean, Jillian, you give a lot of value on your YouTube channel for free, and yet you're selling courses. So how do we navigate that balance of free content that's already out there and then selling our courses?
Well, it definitely is a challenge. And I remember a few years ago when I was first starting to sell courses, I remember going into some entrepreneurship Facebook groups that I was in and asking literally that exact question: how do I know what to charge for and what to give away for free? Because I was making more and more free content. And so it was just becoming a tricky thing to navigate. But the place where I arrived is that just a really simple equation. What we give away for free is what to do and inspiration. Okay, so it's really helping people understand what they need to do and showing them what's possible. But what we want to charge for is content that shows people how to do it, that really holds their hand and gives them the exact step-by-step and gives them a lot of examples of how they can do it so that they have all the knowledge that they need to in order to be able to do it for themselves. So the content we sell is the content that will really help them get that result, where the content that we give away for free is talking about maybe how we created the result for ourselves or how other people have created it, or theoretically what to do. And then kind of going back to just talk about this person who commented, who said, they saw a channel where someone gave it away all for free. I think, that is something that can be challenging as a course creator, to know that other people are giving away everything for free. And that's why it's so important that when you create a course, you don't just try to create a good course, but you really create a course that has that end result in mind, like we were talking about earlier, where you have determined where you're leading your students to, and then you create content that really guides them towards that end result and holds their hand, because otherwise it is just going to be more content on topics, and it won't be really satisfactory to us as creators or more helpful to our students than just the free content that's out there.
Such a great point. And Dana or Danis is in the chat. If there's hand-holding content, I'm willing to pay for that, which is such a great point. Now, there's a question earlier on in regards to paying for social media ads in order to drive traffic to our courses and selling our products. Now, Natalie, when it comes to using social media, would you advise people to go all in on, like, let's say Facebook ads or YouTube pre-roll ads when they're starting out? Or when do we know it's the right time to actually start going into that?
Yeah, so here's the deal. Facebook ads are super effective. And the reason I didn't initially mention that when you talked about how to get in front of an audience is because for a beginner, yes, I recommend it if you can do it, $5 here, $10 there, $20 here as you can see some results. But it shouldn't be like the only strategy. I would definitely, mix the local with, working with other people with Facebook ads. And then in addition, just talking about content and sharing value so that people are interested in what you're doing. But yeah, absolutely. Facebook ads work. I've seen people dump tons of money into it and for it to work fantastic after they, have been a little bit more well-versed in it. And I've seen some people who are like, I've done a Facebook ad and I still don't know what's working. And so if that's the case, then you either have one of two options: find a course, right, that teaches you how to do it, or hire someone. But they certainly have been effective. But I want to share something. I even, doing $40,000+ launches, I think the most I've ever even spent on ads, and this was early on, maybe was like $300, if that.
Wow.
And I've been able to now launch without even launching technically. That's hard to say. Like, I don't even have to spend as much in ads because I've built up a tribe of people who are like hungry and waiting for what I have to offer. So it takes out the spending expense of having to do a lot of ads, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you said that, because I hope that for those of you watching that feel like, oh, like I thought I had to spend money on Facebook ads and I don't have the budget to do that, does it make sense? I'm so glad that you did address that. It doesn't need to be an expensive thing either. I think for us to wrap up now, before, and I will answer your questions about the Creator Challenge after we finish our panel, for those of you that are wondering more about it. But I think we should just end on a note of giving our parting words of advice for those that are watching this that are ready to launch their online courses, or to at least relaunch and learn from the mistakes that they made. So, Jillian, what would be your parting words or just words of encouragement for someone just getting started?
My parting words of advice would be something we were talking about just a little bit earlier, which was, what to do when you're first starting out. If you're not sure, if people will actually buy it, you have some doubts. I would just say that it's important to put some to the world and to start creating that content. Don't try to create something massive at first, because that can be overwhelming and you can end up with a half-finished course. But just create something small, because the very act of creating will increase your confidence and will increase your skill, so that the next thing that you create will be better. So just figure out something small that you can create that you think your audience wants. If you have an audience at all, then ask them if they are interested in that. But put something out into the world, because you have to take that first step to get to the next step and to get to where you eventually want to be.
So great. And Mark, we're going to try it, and thank you for typing to the chat as well for your piece of advice. But what are your final parting words for our creators?
I think I'm just going to reiterate what I said in the chat. The fact that your way of doing will appeal to your audience. There's no one right way of doing it, and the way in which you present information will appeal. We all love different types of music. We all love different films, and learners love different types of courses. So whatever way you choose to do it, that will appeal of your group of learners.
Amazing. Thank you. And last but not least, Natalie, what's your parting words of advice?
My parting words are DIA. Do it afraid. If anyone sits here and tells you that this process is not going to be scary, they're lying. I still get scared, but the point is to move past it and get better. When you are afraid and you show courage, that is essentially saying, I know that this feels weird. I know this is scary, but I'm going to do it anyway to get on the other side. And literally the only way to get out of that fear zone is to do it. It doesn't disappear on its own. So you're going to do webinars scared. You're going to create your course probably a little bit afraid. You're probably going to launch it afraid. That's all good. It's normal. Just get to the other side so you can perfect it.
So good. Jillian, Mark, Natalie, thank you so much for being here, for sharing all of this. I can see everyone in the chat's going like DIA, DIA. Please continue the conversation in our Creator Challenge community if you are part of it. I know our speakers will be in there as well. But thank you though for those of you that are watching this. And I am going to now switch to the trailer for the Creator Challenge. And I'm also going to post the links for our speakers if you would like to stay connected with them. Highly encourage that you do. But thank you so much for all being here. And until then, I'll see you next time. All right, so that was the official trailer for the Creator Challenge. I'm going to spend some time here answering your questions about it, talking about like what are the different milestones. So feel free to add in your questions. If you are part of the Creator Challenge already, let me know in the chat. But really, I guess what I will start off with is just kind of talking of what is the Creator Challenge? Why are we doing this? And this really came from something that we've heard a lot of you guys say, which is that it's one thing to have the technology to create your course. It's one thing to have training like you have access to in Teachable U. But I think there's something really special of being able to do anything with a bunch of other people in a community and a support system. So that is exactly what we have put together with this challenge. So it is 3 months. It is kicking off on June 1st until the end of August. And what you will be doing is, first of all, you're getting training on how to launch your course, starting from scratch. But on top of that, what we also are doing is there's going to be live mentorship sessions with some of the most incredible entrepreneurs and creators. And the goal of that is for you to not just implement the things that you're learning, but you can ask your questions. So you can see what other people are doing with their courses. You can get feedback on what it is that you're doing. And then the thing that I'm also most excited about is that we have milestones. So when you publish your first course or you publish your course, that's the first milestone. And you're actually gonna get access to ConvertKit for free for 2 months, so you can start growing your email list and your audience. Second milestone is when you make your first sale. So there is no dollar amount minimum. It doesn't mean you have to make like a bunch of money, just your first sale. When you get your first student, you're gonna get our coveted Teachable mug. I know I'm going like this, but you're getting our coveted Teachable mug that we'll send to you in the mail. The second milestone is if you make $1,000, we're going to send you our Everything is Teachable t-shirt. And then if you hit $10,000, you get the coolest plaque in the mail to acknowledge this achievement. So those are like the initial milestones, but we also are going to have 5 grand award winners who are going to win an all expenses paid trip to New York City for our mastermind weekend. So there's a lot happening in this challenge, but really the goal of this, don't feel like you have to go for the grand award. It's really just to help you take action, right? We're almost halfway through the year. We are halfway through the year. And it's just kind of taking those ideas, those things that you have been wanting to do, that you've been sitting on, and just helping give you that kind of initial push, that momentum to make it happen. So if you are wanting to know, so by the way, if you are a Teachable customer, you can just sign on up. It's the link is above this video. You should see like an orange join the Creator Challenge. You can sign up then, or if you are not on Teachable, you can join Teachable and you'll get access to all of that. So questions in the chat. So yeah, Glenda, how do you get started? You can click the button above this video to join the challenge. Cornelia says, when are other dates for the Creator Challenge? I'm getting married in July and my honeymoon is in August, so I don't have time. First of all, congratulations. That's super exciting. So for now, the challenge, it's throughout the 3 months. But what we've done is that if you could start in June, but you have like the entire summer to hit the milestones. If you don't, not a problem. I'm sure maybe we'll do it again, maybe next year. I'm not too sure yet. But I would say even if you have June, just to at least start taking those initial steps to creating your course and making it happen, I think that's a win regardless. Okay, so Bree, yes, yeah. So you do set your own schedule, but because we obviously know everyone has different like times that they can work on their course, but we provide you with the training, the content. You have like emails to kind of guide you through and to keep you motivated. Dana says, what does it cost to join the challenge? So it is complimentary for all Teachable customers. If you are not on Teachable, you can join either our basic plan or professional plan, and you'll get access to the challenge. You will get all the training, the mentorship sessions, the private Facebook community, all of that as part of that. And Melissa says, oh, sorry, let me just move my mic out of the way. She says, I know it's called a challenge, but it's more of a push to movement with a big group of others striving the same way you are. It's a group's encouragement, and that's why I joined. Yes. So the challenge part where we're giving you the milestones and the rewards, that's more so just, it's a way to acknowledge all of the work that you're putting into it. There's a reason why we made the milestones perfect if you're just getting started. But yes, the community, the support that you're getting, I think is what makes it so special. I mean, I don't know if those of you are, if any of you are already in the Creator Challenge Facebook group, but I mean, like, people are just posting in it every day, all day. One girl said she made her first sale and she's waiting for her Teachable mug. So some people are actually launching just to get the prizes. Okay, so okay. And sorry, if I miss your question, there's a lot of questions in chat. Please just post it in again. Mike says, why can't I join? You should be able to. If you're having any issues joining for whatever reason, send us an email at challenge. I'm actually going to type that into the chat. challenge@teachable.com, and we'll be able to answer your questions. Okay, so Angela says, a free trip to win, I'm in. Why is it that is the most thing that is what I'm most excited about, LOL. Everyone has different forms of motivation. Yes, so I mean, I'll talk about the grand prize. So this is if you have the highest earning course in a specific month. So if you are the highest, or you have the highest earning course in June or July or August, and within that, there's actually 2 tracks to keep this fair. So if you are already, like, you've already been launching courses, you're an existing course business, you're in this track. And then the second track is for new course businesses. So if you haven't launched a course before in Teachable, this is for you. And the nice thing is that you have each month to try to win it. So there's 5 winners, actually there'll be 6 winners probably. And so if you launch in June and you get so close, but you don't quite get to that number 1 spot, you have also July that you can try. And then you have August. But just note that this is, like, that is the grand prize, yes, or the grand prizes. But there's so many things that happen along the way when you're just getting started as well. Okay. So Mike says, I'm in South Africa. So I think what you're referring to are the prizes specifically. There's certain regions that are eligible to win the milestone prizes. That's a very good question. And that's just because each state and different regions have different rules and regulations. So we have to adhere to that. But you can 100% still join the challenge. You can still get the mentorship sessions, Teachable You, all of that. And Christy Green Brown says, I've been searching for something like this for years. I'm so freaking excited. The help I've been needing to pull it all together and get this knowledge I have out. Yes. I'm telling you, like, the thing that's so exciting is I feel like it's almost like it's like a trickle effect. One person launches, one person makes their first sale, then someone else does. It's just a really fun, exciting, and motivating environment to be a part of. So we're very excited to have you with us. Yeah, Melissa, the ConvertKit, so that's the first milestone. So when you publish your first course on Teachable, you will get that awards. And actually, so the Creator Challenge, it kicks off on June 1st. However, for the milestones, you can actually have a head start. So if you join today and you start, like, you publish your course or you make your first sale, we will give you those awards. But the official kickoff is June 1st. especially for going towards the grand prizes. Rhonda, really great question. She says, is it possible to advance through the entire course sooner than the 3 months? 100%. So really the reason why we've set this 3-month time limit, if you will call it a time limit, is that it gives you 3 months to at least know that you have the support, the community. Not everyone will be able to start right away, so it kind of gives you some leeway on that. But I mean, if you are ready to go, you create your course, you launch it, you've hit all these milestones, by all means. And maybe you only do it for 1 month, but you have the full 3 months to do it. Letitia, will this be posted somewhere? I think you're referring to maybe the panel replay. If that is the case, we will be posting it into Teachable Tribe. If you're wondering if we will be posting about the Creator Challenge, you should get an email from us, or you should have already gotten an email from us, but we'll be talking about it more as we get closer to the June 1st kickoff. Christy says, I've paid thousands on coaching and never could get to this point to put all together. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Christy, I'm so excited for you. Please, please, please keep us posted with everything you're doing. Definitely join the private community on Facebook, because it's, I think it's there's something to be said of having other people going on this journey with you. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you've ever told your big ideas or dreams to people who aren't doing the same thing, sometimes it can be a bit confusing for them to understand, what do you mean you're making an online course? So you're going to be in a group with other people that are also on the same path. Oh, Letitia, will this be posted? Yes. In our Teachable Tribe, let me post the link. Obviously, once we finish, because this is live. I'm just going to post a link for you, Letitia. If you join the group, we will have the replay. It should be within 24 hours. Okay, so questions about if you've already hit a milestone. So if you've already hit a milestone, we can't backtrack it to get you the awards, but you can definitely still you can publish a new course, or you can hit a different milestone with a different course. Brianna's asking, will there be replays of the live videos during the challenge? Yes. And I mean, I can't say too much, but we have a very, very, very special surprise guest, actually quite a few, during the challenge. So if you can't make it live, even though I really encourage you to try to, there definitely will be a replay so you can catch up on everything they said. But I'm telling you, it's good. It's good. Okay, so Sean was asking in regards to, is there a Teachable type plugin that can be incorporated on WordPress? So Teachable is a standalone platform. So there isn't a WordPress plugin, which means that you don't have to worry about if anyone else has ever used WordPress, and you have too many plugins, sometimes they kind of don't work very nicely together. But what people do, because we have a lot of creators that use WordPress for their main website, but they'll use Teachable for their courses. And I'm going to actually link a very great example to you. Okay, where are we here? Okay, so I'm going to share with you a link, Sean. This is for Pat Flynn's courses. Now, if you were to go to his main website, which I believe is on WordPress, you go to smartpassiveincome.com. At the top navigation menu, he has a link to his courses, which then takes you to courses.smartpassiveincome.com. Now, courses.smartpassiveincome.com is on Teachable. So that's what's great. You can customize the look and feel. You can integrate your own domain name. So people don't need to know that they are moving from your main website to Teachable, but you get the power that is behind a platform like Teachable. Angela says, Christy, I'm excited for you too. See you in the Creator Challenge drawing room. I'm so excited for all of you. And yeah, please keep us posted, even regardless of if maybe this isn't the right fit for you now and you're like, I want to be a part of this, but maybe it's next time. Still keep us posted with what you do, because we love to share the wins that people have, the things that you discover when you're going in to create your online course. Okay, so Angela says, awesome sauce. This creator challenge is a great idea, and I believe will be super helpful for us newbies to have a shared space to learn and create together. Thank you, Teachable, for not only asking for our feedback, but also incorporating it. Yes, 100%. I'm telling you, when you guys give us feedback, when we say that we listen, like when it comes to us coming up with ideas of what types of events we do or what topics we cover in our summits, it's based off of what you guys share with us and what you find the most helpful. So that is where we came up with the idea for the challenge. And I mean, keep talking to us, keep letting us know what is most valuable. And Lauren says, Chrissy's excitement is contagious. It really is. Michelle has joined the Facebook group. Amazing. Okay, Charlie says, how can I get paid for my courses since where I live has no good banking system? So there's a few different options. I mean, we've got the Teachable payments, depending if you can accept PayPal in your country. If not, I mean, if you have people, let's say in your local community that want to buy your course, you can always do like coupons. So people can just pay you in person and then you give them a coupon for your course. So, I mean, there's a few different ways, but I mean, I would encourage you to post in the Facebook group, ask if there's people who are maybe in a similar situation and things that they've been doing, because that's a great question. Mike said, I missed the Facebook group discussion. So yes, the Facebook group, when there's the Creator Challenge mini site, which has a link to the Facebook community, you should get an email basically instantly when you join the Creator Challenge with the links to the Facebook group. Oh, unless you're referring to when I posted about the Teachable Tribe, the Facebook group, that was a link to where this panel's replay will be happening. Or we'll post a link to it there. So Adrian says, what about building a subdomain for my main website just for Teachable courses? That is what a lot of people do. So you can integrate your own domain or your own subdomain. That is what Pat Flynn does. So again, his website is smartpassiveincome.com. His courses or his course site is courses.smartpassiveincome.com. Purvi's saying, how can I join the challenge? There is a button above this video. If you are already a Teachable customer, this is complimentary to you. So you can just enter your email when you click on the button above this video. We'll recognize your account and you're in the challenge. And if you are new to Teachable, you can just choose one of the plans that is the best fit for you. So basic or professional, and you will be enrolled in the challenge. Okay, so Kurt says, if we just discovered Teachable this week, what is the first step that we need to take? So I think my follow-up question for you, Kurt, would be, did you just discover Teachable as a platform or the concept of online courses? And if it's the concept of online courses, do you already have, let's say, an audience somewhere else, like a Facebook group, an email list, a blog, a YouTube channel, or are you completely new to this and you want to venture into growing an audience, building an online course business? Because there's a few different answers I could give you, so I want to make sure I give you the best one. Adrian says, I just joined the Facebook group. Amazing. Rhonda, can you pay for this via PayPal? No, so it is just a credit card for joining Teachable. But for your courses, people can 100% pay for your courses with PayPal. Okay. Okay, so Purvi says, I want to know, what can I do on Teachable? Do you have a detailed video link on that? Can I run a membership site on this? Yes. And actually, there's a lot of training within Teachable U that shows you what you can do. But I mean, actually, one of the interesting things is Teachable as a platform is most commonly used for online courses, but people also use us for their membership sites. So there's a woman named Bushra Azar. She's one of our top earning creators, and she has a membership site on Teachable. Other things people do are like virtual summits. They'll do live video streams. Some people will even sell event tickets through Teachable. Pat Flynn is actually doing that. So, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting ways that you can use Teachable. So it's really just kind of up to you and your creativity. Angela's asking, do my course videos reside on Teachable or on Vimeo? Well, it's up to you. On Teachable, we host the videos for you for free using Wistia, which is great. There's incredible analytics behind that. So you can see how far someone is progressing throughout your course. You can see if there's a certain section in your course videos that people kind of drop off at. So we have that option. But if you have a Vimeo account, you can embed basically anything. So you can embed your own videos there too. So many great questions. Okay, so Leandro says, so I don't have anything. I just want to start out with online teaching. Teachable helps with the website or just a platform for hosting the course. So we are the platform for hosting your course, but I mean, you do get obviously a course website with that. Yeah, so I think if you're just starting out, the place that I would start, I think it's important, and I mean, you'll see this when we talk about it in Teachable U or inside the Facebook group. It's important that you need to find an audience of people that would be interested in the course that you want to sell. Now, when we say audience, a lot of people think like this huge list of like 10,000, 100,000 people. It doesn't need to be something like that. It's just finding, even if it's 50 people, 100 people, 200 people that are actually interested in what you are going to be teaching. Now, we definitely discuss this in today's panel. There's so many more resources that we can provide you on how to do this. But when you're going to build your audience, you want to offer something for free to them. So what we talked about today in today's panel was, doing some type of like mini course. So taking maybe a section in your full course, offering it for free in return for someone's email address to start to build a list. And then once you know that there are a group of people that are interested in what you're talking about, you can then sell your course to them. But really, I would say like that's probably one of the most important places to start, is to find people that are interested in your topic and also validating the idea that you have with them. Okay. So Sean says, are there people who can assist with implementing the Teachable platform for us? As in, is there a party or a service that can take the courses that we've created and create the class for us to the final version? Yes, great question. So if you want to outsource this, if you're like, cool, like I have my idea, but I just want to record my videos and then let someone else do it for me, we have a experts marketplace. Let me get the link. Okay, I'm going to send this to you. Great. Okay, so that is our experts marketplace site, and you can find so many different types of freelancers and like service providers for your Teachable school. Christy says, I'm so excited. I enrolled to 2 different emails, so it created 2 accounts. I need to cancel one. Appreciate your excitement, Christy. If you email challenge@teachable.com. All right, I just sent you the email, challenge@teachable.com. We will be able to fix that for you. Okay. I think that probably wraps up everything for today, but just note, so I mean, we kind of went a bit longer than we had intended for today with the questions, but don't worry, we actually have two entire Q&A sessions with Encore, who is the CEO of Teachable, and I will be there as well to answer your questions specifically around the challenge, questions you have about launching. So we will be emailing you about that, but they are happening on the 23rd and the 30th, I believe. 23rd at 11 a.m., the 30th at 2 p.m. Eastern. But we'll send you an email to confirm all of that. But yeah, honestly, I'm so excited to see what you do. Definitely, for those of you that have joined the Creator Challenge, please do join the private Facebook community and introduce yourself. I'll give you a wave as well, because it's so interesting not just to see so many people that are doing online courses, but just the different topics. I mean, one of my personal favorites is copper deficiency in goats. That's a course by a woman named Deborah Neiman. She's over 3,000 students, I think, at this point. So like, there's so many things that you can do with this. I can't wait to see what it is that you get up to. And yeah, if you have any other questions, anything that we haven't addressed in regards to the challenge itself, you can email challenge@teachable.com. And other than that, thank you for spending your Thursday with me to talk about online courses, to learn about this, to join us for a panel. And until then, I will see you next time. Bye, guys.